I would like to celebrate life by embracing death. Don't worry, don't be alarmed, this is not a suicide threat. If you find that statement weird, I totally get it. But maybe there's discomfort in discussing this delicate topic because we haven't spent much time thinking about what makes life and death ironic. You see, death with a capital D has always had this bad reputation. Dementors, Death Note Shinigami, the Enigma in Final Destination. This tall guy or girl, this thing, has been badly depicted in media representation. A scythe, glowing eyes, blank face, skeletal body, with a dark cloak on. I mean, yeah, we call death a familiar distant friend. But still, what's more popular is the Grim Reaper. That's basically two negative words combined. Don't you think a friend deserves better? But maybe we added distant because we wanted death to stay away from us 1,000-kilometer radius. But the truth is, we're terrified of this entity. And in this year 2020, it's become more obvious. This year, it has death written all over it. And we haven't gone through the calendar completely. Instead of a book for the dead, there's this library of names of people who concluded their mortality. And with the blood red ink spilled on their deathbed, the infamous skeleton has been enjoying the calligraphy, jotting down names, leaving no space, page by page, line after line. It's taking time, listing down the souls who'll hear death's cold whisper. You're mine. Funny how I imagined it as a soft-spoken voice when, since January, I felt like death is screaming right at my face. How can I be devastated when Kobe died, but I haven't seen any of his games? I don't even play basketball for crying out loud. But I cried. My tears started falling because I finally understood what Black Mamba is all about. And Naya, I played If I Die Young on repeat that week. When the search was ongoing, I clenched my teeth, holding on to my seat. But then rescue became recovery. I kept on checking for updates, refreshing the newsfeed. Then your body was identified, and from holding it in, I let go to finally breathe. And how the heck did Chadwick keep his sickness a secret? You signed a 5-movie agreement with Marvel, and for 4 years nobody knew about it. Hidden behind the shadows of death, it seems you were negotiating a different contract. You still wanted to do Black Panther 2. That commitment, that resolve was still intact. But we can't hear them anymore. No more replies. There's this eerie and deafening silence. And I think a dead soul sin-zoned me once, but he was looking through death's lens. No, I don't have a third eye, and hell no, I'm not high. Trust me, this is going to make sense in the end. I wanted to have a haircut last June because this bushy afro hair grew to an intolerable length. And so I messaged Jobel, that one hairdresser who's been taking good care of my curls for 3 to 4 years approximately. We've been good friends, he knows the twists and turns of this hairstyle, maintaining it to a T. I asked if they can accommodate me. He didn't notice, nor reply. I asked again, messaging him, I'd wear a mask, I promise. He still didn't reply. So I asked someone he knows, another friend, what are the rules? I'm willing to wear a face shield instead, just cut this caveman hair that I dread. Jobel's dead. Suspected COVID-19 related. I don't know how a person's last words will be like, what they're holding to on their edge. I guess this is death's bragging right, this one exclusive privilege, to hear the last thoughts, have the last conversation side by side as their familiar, distant friend. What was your last thoughts hugging your daughter in that helicopter? Was it fear for your death? Or were you more terrified that your little girl will no longer grow older? You sang Sink Me in the River at dawn, years before your final breath underwater. What then is the lyrics of your love song for your son? You died both as a singer and a mother. You were excited to do the sequel, right? As the black icon, you wanted to recover and deliver the promise of the next installment. Did anything change when 3 became stage 4 cancer? Is death with us rewatching the YouTube videos of people who can no longer press the replay button? Because if we are the audience, then the movie of death has been playing all year long. I see it every day. The next picture and what's coming soon. They're all the same black and white with praise and message and a hero's tune. Headshot photos of frontliners we've lost while patiently working with death. And death is choosing between the one saving or the one who needs to be saved. Who gets the dying last breath? I wonder what the death certificate said. Died of natural death, COVID-related, or systematically murdered by the leader who directed this dark and sinister film with extended cut that keeps on rolling. With her eyes forced open, it's as if the horror story never ended. And dead, and dead, and dead. This year, everywhere I look, I see death taking different forms. A gentle, nurturing mother suffocating as the world around her burns. And if the skin of Anubis is black and grey, then let ash fall from the sky, giving us darker days, running, panting, and not even giving us a chance to breathe and cry. I see Thanatos when our mouths have been shoved by dirt of lies, our hands cut, we could no longer write. The truth of life is hated by the ones who are filled with fear but hungry for power. And so, there's this fake god wearing a mask becoming hell's ugly doppelganger. Funny how this dead man walking worse than any underworld deity was once thought as our savior. And even on the littlest things in this quarantine, there's a semblance of death in between. From things that are serious and down to petty ones, but nonetheless death seems analogous. Jobs we've lost and co-workers we will no longer be seeing. Internet connection being cut, inadvertently ending your Zoom meeting. And after binge watching different series while you were indoors, a viewer repeatedly endures moving on from every show's last episode, different kinds of closures. So this year-long empty feeling, this loss of sense of normalcy, this existential crisis, I guess this is what makes 2020 such an agonizing phase to process. We have more deaths to tally and count, our walls are running out. We have more time to mourn but funerals are not allowed. And we have more reminders of death that every single thing we can lay our eyes on has been blown by its cold breath, making sure its presence is felt and known. But actually, if we let our familiar distant friend speak for a minute, death will probably dispel all the bad rep that it gets. Yes, I am death, but I'm different from the cause of death. You need to separate me from the sickness and the tragedy because that's not the core of my identity. Stop obsessing and fetishizing the gruesome and bloody accident or crime scene. I am death and my role is simple. Be with the soul, carry and keep them company on their time of passing. And it definitely makes sense. We are not as shocked and scared when the cause of death is as natural as aging. Looking at the grand scheme of things, the transition from life to death is just a hyphen with 2 years in between. All of the skin in our body scales off and regenerates after day 28. It's like a brand new me. Maybe we are living and dying simultaneously. And that basically makes 2020 nothing extraordinary. People die. Accidents happen. There will always be a catastrophe. Well, unfortunately, a pandemic happened in our lifetime, but it did not change death's modus operandi. Death is as natural as life. They are intertwined. Maybe why death has a cloak on is because it's the same persona that is life but in disguise. Be comfortable with the black entity that you're with standing beside you, yes? Blame it on destiny or irony or nature or frankly speaking, blame it on your life choices. But don't antagonize death. It's part of the job. What do you expect? So talk with death. Joke around, negotiate. Let death watch you introspect. And relax. It's not like you're held at gunpoint or with a sharp blade pressed on your neck. But hey death, I know you can hear me. When I say I'm ready for you, it doesn't necessarily mean I'm excited. But I'm happy. I have befriended you, at least you're the evidence I existed. So cheers. Here's to living a beautiful life and here's to a dignified death. I'm alive so I'd raise a glass, but to be specific, an hourglass. Sand at the top are possibilities, the ones below are my past. And as the cosmic dust passed through the tiny tube in the middle, it represents my ongoing battles, life's mysterious riddles, the stories I write and tell. So I'll shake the hands of time, make amends of what this world has to give and what I could get. Now I know for a fact that the greatest proof of life is being at peace with the reality of one's own death.